deep in the shadows. I know it's hard to put one foot in front of the other.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to CeeChronicles channel. And as you are aware, I'm here with her, and I'm not only a friend, I'm also a fan. As a fan, I've been curious about so many things about CeeChronicles, and I took the opportunity to ask her certain questions which I believe a lot of us would like to know, because she's the pioneer when it comes to Middle Eastern fragrances. At least to me, she's been the champion, helping us to know our way through Middle Eastern fragrances. And I would love to know how this whole YouTube, thing started, how it's going, her ups and downs, the challenges she's been facing, a whole lot, like how is the society seeing the whole YouTube thing, because as Africans, it's not something that is easily accepted. We have a lot of ups and downs. So for me, I'm just here as a fan. I'm not here as a friend today, but I just want to know how YouTube started for CeeChronicles.
Okay. First of all, I'm comfortable with you as a sister, not a fan. I don't.
I'm still a fan.
Even my YouTube, I call them my supporters. I call them my family. Anyway, back to that question. Thank you so much. YouTube started for me, around the time when we had the CD. If you know what I mean. People were home, basically, and it was something that I used to see, but I wasn't too well versed with how it works and stuff. And I asked my son the other time, because I used to research. I loved fragrances as a person growing up, and I used to research, about fragrances. But I used to prefer reading about them, not watching videos and stuff. And anytime I would see that red button, I didn't know what it was about. I remember explaining to you that I thought it was a subscription thing where you actually pay YouTube, but then. So I asked my son one day, just from nowhere. I said,
everybody knew about YouTube.
No, not myself. And this I'm talking about 2019.
Okay.
So I said to my son, every time I search for something, there's this option where people are talking. I want to read. I'm a reader. And then he told me, no, this is YouTube and you don't have to pay anything for it. And then I started clicking on some of the videos, but I couldn't comment. I was restricted. I didn't know that you actually need to create an account. So then he created an account for me, and then I started researching some fragrances, and I had some fragrances in my collection that I just for the life of me couldn't find, especially Middle Eastern fragrances. I couldn't find them no matter what. I couldn't find information about them and stuff, but I found myself watching a lot of fragrance reviewers, people's collections and stuff, and it was just one day I thought, what if I say something about some of the fragrances that people cannot find and see the response? So that's how it started.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just took my phone, put it on top of a book, press play, and started talking about random Middle Eastern fragrances, especially this one, because I was wowed by it, but no one was talking about it.
I remember when the channel started, I saw this fragrance a lot.
Yes, it was. This one was Alder something, the one with the cream sock as well. So that's just how it started, and from there, I had to keep on bringing them.
How easy was it to start? Were you received? Do you think you were received well? Because it's at the time you started, there wasn't such an influx of Middle Eastern. So no, I think a lot of people didn't know much about Middle Eastern fragrances. How was it received?
It wasn't easy, but I didn't look at it that way per se. I felt a little snubbed because, when you start YouTube, you want to grow because obviously you're talking to somebody somewhere and you want somebody to watch. Yeah. So I made sure to subscribe to as many fragrance reviewers as possible. But remember, why I say I felt snubbed was I was subscribing to all these people, but I was not doing what they were doing. I was coming here with some new, odd, style of fragrances, fragrances that were little known. So I felt that in as much as I was getting the support initially, because I would do Arabian and then go back to the designer, do Arabian, go do the niche, do this. And then because personally my channel was not thriving when it came to other like say the niche ones and whatever, because I was up against this competition where some of these people had been on this platform for years, and they had massive collections, and there I was with maybe 2-3 trays with just a few Western and niche fragrances, and what I was saying was already washed out. People already knew that. So I then, then zoomed onto Middle Eastern and kept on doing that. But it lost me a lot of, I'm not going to say support because I can't call it support, but it lost me a lot of, even the comment section, you could see people were conflicted as to, do we support this person? What are they even talking about? Are they talking about fakes and stuff? So that is how I would say it was received.
Okay.
Yeah, that is how it was received. It was pretty odd.
So they wanted for you to go on with the designer in the niche?
Not necessarily. I think I was just talking about something strange, as you said, I wouldn't call myself the pioneer per se, but I would say I'm the one who stuck to it in a way, solo, I stuck to it for the longest time. So pioneer knows, some people may have been speaking about one or two or whatever before. I know Joy, was there way before me. I know Smelly Cat and all the other, reviewers, but maybe being an African creator and just solely speaking about Middle Eastern fragrances until they were known, and when the time I was talking about them, they were not known. So I wouldn't say they wanted me to speak about the niche ones, but they were wondering what I was talking about. Basically, I think that was the thing. So in the community, I would say I wasn't really well received in the fragrance reviewing community on YouTube, but it was the audience that kept encouraging me because they wanted to hear what I had to say about some of these fragrances that they too were coming across and were wondering what they were about. So that's what then shaped my channel.
So you did that, and then eventually YouTube also niched you.
YouTube then niched me, because remember, like I said, I have a love for fragrances all through. It doesn't really necessarily mean Middle Eastern fragrances. I just love fragrances, right? But first of all, I was up against a host of people that had these gazillion collections, just like what's happening now. I feel that is exactly what's happening now. It's like a flip. These same people have come to the Middle Eastern, reviewing kind of train. But at that point, they were not doing anything Middle Eastern. It was frowned upon and stuff. But because I kept on doing what I was doing alone, and YouTube responding differently, maybe because I had something different that I had to offer. This was not me just talking about another house of Siage. This was not me talking about another Amouage. I was not one of them talking about, the norm. So in a way, I think YouTube pushed me, and there was this audience that was not being catered for. And all of a sudden, YouTube could see that, no, this person is talking about something and bringing a new audience altogether. So why not assist, in making her more visible? I think that's exactly what happened, because I found myself niched in the sense that anytime I would speak about what everybody was saying, my views would literally go zero. And then anytime I speak about these strange fragrances, my views would go up. So I decided I'm not going to sell against the tide. YouTube is literally directing me here. So YouTube personally for me was my best tutor. They told me which direction, to take. I was talking about something that no one was talking about, or not so many people were talking about. At a ratio of maybe 1 to 100, I would say I was maybe 5 people out of 100 that was talking about something different. So it was fragrance reviewing, but with like a different kind of twist to it.
So I get it. In that sense, if you had another way around, would you have preferred to be niched to the niche and designer, or you would still have preferred although YouTube pushed you to do Middle Eastern, all the interest was there, and then they also helped you to know that, okay, this is what is going to work for you. Would you have, if let's say you had a sponsor and they were giving you the designer and niche fragrances, would you have gone that direction? Seem that is more acceptable.
Yes. It's more acceptable, yes, and I understand, but I was happy to be talking about something that it's very nice to enter into an uncharted territory, if you will. So I think I'm pretty grown enough to know that even if with a sponsor I was talking about something that's already been talked about by a lot of people and I wasn't getting traction, I would have come to my senses to say, okay, sponsorship or not, I'm going to follow the direction in which the channel is going, because YouTube in itself is so time consuming, it's taxing, it's mentally draining. If you're not recording, you're editing. If you're not editing, you're thinking of the next best video to drop out there. If you're not, you're fishing out the perfumes. If you're not, you're testing them. So it becomes so consuming to the extent that even with a sponsor that would have been giving me maybe say niche fragrances, if I wasn't getting any, traction out of them, I was going to be reasonable enough to go back to them and say, look, I'm not getting traction out of this. Maybe I can open a second channel and talk about it, which is what I've done, but stick to this on my channel because it does become about growth because it's so consuming. Look, you've flown all the ways, all these miles because of your passion for YouTube. So you wouldn't want to sell against the tide to say no, because I have gotten this deal with this company. I'm just going to do it. More so that, okay, I speak about Middle Eastern fragrances. There's traffic on my channel. I speak about this. People really don't know me because there are people that have already put a name on what you're talking about. So I probably, and I'm happy it took that direction because it was going to leave me broke anyway. Say, for instance, I pushed and pushed and pushed and it niched into, like designer forced it down my audience throat and it went that direction. I would have been broke by now. Because you know how consuming it is and how it can be an expensive thing to do.
Even with the Middle Eastern, it's still not a joke.
It's still not a joke. It's because they're cheap, but they add up. And more so that the Middle Eastern companies keep dropping them and dropping them. So because of that, we can't keep up, or even if it's $10, $15, $20, it adds up in the end.
It does. So in that sense, like, what has been your greatest challenge? Because I know aside the money, always buying fragrances, getting some of the fragrances, and like, what has been your challenge? Because I have my challenges. I think everybody would have separate challenges. What has been your major challenge when it comes to the fragrance channel?
My major challenge is the PR aspect of it. It does look like the Middle Eastern fragrance companies, first of all, do not maybe subscribe to the school of thought of PR. That's one. Okay, I did get PR. I'm not trying to rubbish everybody. I did get PR, but the thing is, after how long? 2 years, 2.5 years. So it does look like the style of, or the way they do things, I don't know. Or maybe there's a misunderstanding or a misconception that if you come and you're talking about a fragrance, then you're making a lot of money to an extent that the companies themselves are doing you a favor. Because the biggest challenge is that of receiving PR. The Middle Eastern companies don't reach out. That's one.
They don't.
This is why I said, with an exception of 2 years later, 2.5 years later, Aroma Concepts reached out to me. So that I would say is the biggest challenge. I wish these companies, big as they are, would acknowledge YouTubers, okay, in terms of making sure, say for instance, there's a release, making sure they get those releases to the YouTubers. I may be in Africa, you are in Africa, but if the numbers are making sense and people are listening, I think these companies should make an extra effort to say, okay, even if this person is in Africa, YouTube's button will, whether you are in Romania or whatever, you still get to hear the knowledge that somebody from Africa, like myself and yourself, is talking about. So why not make the extra initiative of reaching out and also making sure that, we African creators are taken care of? Because I see my fellow fragrance reviewers, they have discount codes, there's all that. We don't have that. So that is the biggest challenge, in the sense that the companies themselves don't reach out. Latafa did reach out, but that was after... I'm 4 years in. That's when they reached out, and even then there wasn't there wasn't really like a proper communication. It was just, hi, we see your channel, do you want any fragrances? And that was it. So there was nothing further than that, where I would say, besides AdSense, I have a deal with them. That is the biggest challenge. I've never gotten to a point where I've been an affiliate of anything, signed anything, gotten a discount code, got paid for anything. Everything I'm doing here is off my own pocket and a little bit of whatever I get from AdSense. So that is the biggest challenge. It's running the channel off pocket, and oftentimes having to spend more than you should, because all the time these companies are producing or making or creating more fragrances, I have to go purchase these fragrances with my own money. You know what I mean? And as I said, the way things are done, maybe because we're African creators, maybe because that's how Middle Eastern houses do it, where they do not believe in social media influence, I don't know. But at the end of the day, social media influence is a thing, guys. If for instance, some of us are not talking about some of these fragrances. Imagine you woke up, no one's talking about anything. You can release whatever you release, but if social media personalities don't push those fragrances, then it will be a waste. So I wish, because the challenges that I'm facing can be fixed if some of these companies reach out, and make it easy as well, because we don't get as much as maybe the assumption is that, okay, if she's not, then why is she talking about it? It's called self-actualization. When your numbers start to go up, you still want to go for more and more and more, but it doesn't equate to what we are making. And I think you know that.
Yeah, I do.
You were telling me the other day that you've never, you cannot say you've earned, decent enough to, to do anything, but it's just your passion. So those are the challenges that I face. The same challenges you face, I'm still facing.
I thought maybe as a bigger channel, it's much easier for you.
Yeah, they don't reach out. So that is the biggest problem, funding off pocket, and the assumption maybe that if you were not making money, why are you talking about us? It's not really about that. We started as something, you want to see it through to the end. That's what happens. So those are the challenges. PR, no discount codes.
On anyone's payroll. Nothing.
Yes, not on anyone's payroll. And as if that's not enough, that AdSense is 60-40, right? So 60-40 as in if you make $100 a month, $40 is going to YouTube, 60 is going to yourself, and then that 60 is further taxed, you see. So it's all it's an uphill struggle.
Yeah, I get it. So is it encouraging enough? Do you, with all these challenges, do you still see yourself doing perfume reviews in the next 5 years?
Certainly,
if things do not change.
Yes, because I've been running this train solo anyway. I've been roaring the ship on my own, so I still wouldn't change for anything. I would continue doing it even 5 years from now, because first of all, remember, it's a passion. It's something that I truly love. Everybody has got a vice. While somebody's in a pub right now drinking because that's what makes them happy, fragrances are what make me happy, in as much as somebody's in buying designer clothing and unboxing stuff, that's what makes them happy. So that fragrances, some people collect watches, some people, whatever it is, some people like hair, fashion, makeup, it's my vice. So with me, sponsorship or not, challenges or not, I would still do it. I would still do it.
That's a good
I just wanted to highlight it there that if the companies reach out and become a little bit flexible, it will help, because it's not that YouTubers are making a lot of money, especially the African creators, because if you don't have those discount codes, if you do not have a paid partnership or sponsorship, if you don't have anything signed, if you don't have even a one-off payment where the company assists, then basically what you're doing is you're waiting for that 60-40 arrangement with AdSense, where people must physically watch your adverts, and after they do watch the adverts, say you made $100, $40 of it goes to YouTube because it's a business, and then $60 goes to you. But if you're an African creator like myself in a country without a tax treaty with the United States, where YouTube is located in the United States, you are further taxed on that $60. So we often talk about financial challenges and it sounds as, you're exaggerating.
And the bank will also tax you when you go to the bank.
When you go to the bank, they take the money as well. So it's a knock everywhere you go. So but no, I wouldn't stop. In fact, I'm gonna keep going, because it's something that I was well received. I'm humbled.
And a lot of us look up to you too.
I'm humbled about how well received I was. So it's pointless. It's something that it has never actually occurred to me to say I might slow down, but stopping completely, no.
Okay, right. Because you are everybody looks up to you, C started here on the continent. I think you are the only person I saw doing it. I think I saw this lady, I don't know where she's from, but even now I don't see it anymore.
Toke.
It's not Toke, it's I think she's also in Southern Africa, if I'm not mistaken. Imwen something,
Okay.
Is it, maybe she's in Kenya? I'm not sure. I also saw her, but it's been a while. It's been a while, because it's not easy. It's not easy to do this.
It's not.
Yeah. Okay. So with all this, the time, the money, how does your society in general see it? Because for me personally, I've had a few occasions where people have asked me, why are you doing this? The money can be invested into something else. That is like you're wasting money. They see it as wasteful.
Yes.
Do you get the same challenge here?
I do get the same challenge, but the good thing about me being located in Zim is fragrances are not that big of a deal. Okay, there's a divide where there are some people who just need fragrances 2 or 3 and that's it, and then there are some that of course will go overboard because they love fragrances like myself. But I have never had a personal like one-on-one maybe confrontation about it or anything like that. However, I know that regardless of not having anybody say it to me, it's going to be the same umbrella problem that you have, where people will assume that either you're very rich, you're very wasteful, you lack common sense. Why won't you just invest that money in other things? There are so many people out there who are needy, who need the money and all that. So there is that general stigmatization when it comes to fragrance collecting, as in it's looked at as a waste. Like, how many bottles do you really need? And granted, those people are right, but I always tell myself, look, this is a hobby that I turned into a job, and for that I'm not going to feel guilty for, because I personally wouldn't have a collection this big if it was just myself. But now that there is YouTube that showed me that, oh, okay, this can be something that you can share with fellow fellow creators who feel the same, viewers who also love this type of thing, it's acceptable. So because of that, I feel whatever it is that's negative it's outweighed by what I am doing, and I know why I am doing it.
Okay. So with all this said and done, is it worth it?
And it is worth it, but it takes time. It's not it's not a fly by night
This is for
kind of
someone
thing.
who is thinking, maybe someone is just, I mean, you have a lot of people who ask you things. Okay, maybe I have a few fragrances, I want to start a YouTube. What would you tell that person? What would you tell that person?
Okay.
Aside doing it because you have that passion, what would you advise that young lady who is about to start a YouTube channel, probably with the hope of making it and making money and
Rule number 1 when it comes to fragrance reviewing: don't do it for the money. That's what I can say. And I know I know it sounds contradictory to, don't do it for the money, but you're saying it's too much work, you're saying this, you have thrown in the AdSense, so there is money involved. It's not a fast paying, quick spinning type of thing, right? So the passion is what I'll always go back to, in as much as it's common sense that, okay, fine, you must do it for the passion, but I'll still go to make sure it's a passion of yours. That way you won't feel the pennies going down, because it is a very costly, even if you're dealing with $1 perfumes. For instance, if you're going to buy 100 perfumes a month at $1, that's still $100. That's money that you can channel to something else. So I'm going to say, don't go into fragrance reviewing hoping for a quick buck. Look into yourself and say, do I really love perfumes? If you love them, then you're not going to feel the pinch. Otherwise, you will find yourself making a U-turn before you go anywhere, because it is expensive and it doesn't pay you in the first year, second and stuff. And even as it pays you, when you start to see some coins there, if you were to take a calculator and a book, you might find that it doesn't equate what you're actually spending. So it's a tricky one in that regard, that it takes a long time for you to start seeing something. And even then, when you start seeing something, you have to blindfold yourself and say, I'm going to ignore everything else that I spent in the past. Because if I did, I might find myself confronted with, I spent 50,000, but I've only made 10,000. So it's not a quick fix type of situation. I always say, if you want to be a YouTuber, if you want to be a fragrance YouTuber, there's room for everybody. This is a big platform. But I always say, go for the sort of YouTubing of something that you actually love
and can sustain.
Do what you love. You won't work a day in your life. If you're a tailor, start a YouTube channel or around seamstressing and stuff like that, because that way you're already sewing. You see what I mean? So it's not something where you're going out of your way to get that material and stuff. You already have the machine. You're already a seamstress. So it's easy. If you're a gardener, for instance, you like gardening, do a YouTube around gardening, because that's what you do for a living. So if you do it that way, when the money comes in 55 years later, you don't care, because you were simply doing what you love.
Passion.
But I wouldn't encourage somebody to say, go right now or buy a basket full of perfumes, put them there, and boom, you've started yourself a business. It will.
It's already saturated.
It
It's
is
already huge competition, you know. So to break through is going to be a miracle, or it's a miracle, you know. Yeah.
YouTubing, guys, you're welcome. I'm not trying to deter anybody, but I'm just saying the fragrance YouTubing is costly. So if you put that into consideration and don't expect it to pay you immediately, that's fine. You can join in. You will love this. But if anything, if you're looking at trying out YouTube, think around what you're already doing, because there's room for everybody. I watched a video on how to make sadza, and that one had millions. Sadza is our staple. Yeah, somebody put how to make sadza, and they had like 3-4 million views. So it's things like that where sometimes you don't have to crack your head and do something that's going to put you off pocket and make you go out of your comfort zone, unless already, like I said, you love fragrances. It doesn't cost you that much. Maybe you work in a fragrance shop, or you already have a fragrance store that you own. Then it's easy because you're not taking anything out of your pocket. But if you are taking something out of your pocket and you think, okay, I'm going to go to Zara and buy all the new ones, then I'll hit another fragrance store and buy and then have all the fragrances in front of me, and then I'll start talking about this, hopefully get monetized, and then start making my money. That's not how it works. However, again, let me just say this, as the last point. It depends on your location. I'm saying this mostly for African creators.
And maybe luck.
Luck, location. If you're in Europe, maybe where you can just get your fragrances gifted, then by all means, why not? Because you're losing nothing either way except your time.
Okay. Yeah, that's understandable. Because I think a lot of us look up to you. We need, once in a while, maybe videos like this from you to encourage us, for those of us losing hope, because I see a lot of small creators from the continent and even outside here. You see that they start and then they fall off. They start and they fall off. You are looking up for a video from them and you don't find it anymore. So it will be honored if you occasionally give some form of encouragement to some of us who are also trying to rise.
Certainly,
Okay, so is there any last words you want to share with your audience?
No, I think we've pretty much exhausted everything. And thank you for coming up with this, because I can't interview myself. So thank you so much for coming up with this. I think it was a good idea.
Thank you for opening up, because not everybody is going to share some of these detailed info. People want to just be selfish and keep information to themselves and just but thank you so much for doing this. Thank you. So I think since it's your channel, maybe you close it here.
Oh, okay. All right, guys, so thank you so much. I hope you found some of the information there useful. Please remember to subscribe to Ajwa. She is a reviewer like myself, focusing mostly on Middle Eastern fragrances. I'm going to drop her channel link in the description for ease of reference. Kindly rally behind her, guys. Let's get her numbers up. YouTube is a lot of work, and she has shown some love by coming here. While you're at it, remember to turn on post notifications on both the channels. Ajwa loves fragrances as well as this one. That way you get to be notified anytime we upload videos. Like and share this one, and remember that smelling good, in this case I'm going to say, is good business. Bye for now.